teenager, I was super into stage magic and Jesus Christ. Kind of a sex god is what you're probably thinking. Laid all the time. So I love that nerdy shit. I loved going to summer camp and being in the talent show. It was one of my favorite things. And I met this fellow magician. We became best friends. We never kissed. But we thought that we should have stage names. And so we both surprised each other with what we thought our stage name should be. And he's like, "You're gonna be Derrick the Dynamic." And I was like, "Oh, that's not that great, but a couple of D's in there, that's fine." He's like, "What'd you come up with for me?" And I was like, "Mr. Fire the Mystifier." Really got the short end of that deal. So we would go to these camps, and we actually loved going to church camp, super into learning about God and talking Christian music, not listening to worldly music, listening to Petra, DeGarmo and Key, Undercover, the hot shit. There was our most favorite time was this thing called devotionals. And during cabin devotionals, you would say the craziest shit you'd ever been through in your life. And this weird thing would kind of happen with the teen boys, which was if someone said something kind of hairy, you'd feel like, "Oh, I should say something really hairy because they showed a lot of courage. I'm going to say something really crazy that I did." And there'd be tears. There'd always be tears. And I remember this guy named Jeff was talking about, he's like, "Oh yeah, my dad's never around. I have a hard time making friends." We're all like, "Yeah, that's terrible. Let's pray about that." And then this guy named Greg was like, "Do you have anything you want to confess, Greg, or talk about?" And he's like, "Jenny Ennis and I drank a bunch of Strawberry Hill, Boone's Farm, and then we got it on." And Greg was a dude that would wear like creepers and Smith shirts and stuff. Now I was like looking at him to see if like a little bit of guilt would come out of him when he said it, but not a drop of guilt came out of his mouth or his face. And I was like, no tears from this dude. Oh wow, I want to be Greg. And I remember the counselor, Kevin, he was like, "So do you want to tell the Lord you're sorry?" And he's like, "I'm sorry." He goes, "I want you to say it like you mean it, Greg." And he goes, "I'm not an actor, Kevin." It was fucking genius. Of course I bought creepers after that. So, years pass, I go in the Army, I have this sort of change in my heart where I decide I'm super into magic and not that into the church. I get deep into magic too. Keep the name. And my buddy Buzzy, who's still connected to the church, he's like, "Hey, now that we're in our 20s, the church wants to know if we want to be counselors for the next summer camp." And I was like, "Hell no." Like, it pays $200. Hell yes, I'll do it. So we got to be in charge of the stuff, and we're the MCs of the whole entire camp, but nobody knew there that I didn't believe anymore. And I was kind of, I was having the fun. I was like, "Well, great fellowship, guys." And I remember that one night they gave us these boxes of Snickers, and they're like, "Here's 4 huge boxes of Snickers. Pass them out to all the dudes in the red area, the girls in the blue, no purple." So we carried it over there, and it was kind of like, well, we got a fuckload of Snickers to pass out. So we started to just open the doors, and we'd yell, "Snickers!" and we throw a whole bunch in there. We shut the door. It was kind of fun, and we'd like drop it in there. And then phase 2, something about me and my best buddy Buzzy, we would amp it up all the time. And phase 2 was I'd open the door, and then he'd whip them all in like ninja stars. Snickers! And then the last phase was that when we were almost out of Snickers, we both said, we gotta light this box on fire and throw it into a room of praying boys. They will think it's so funny. I have a lighter. We light the box on fire, put the leftover Snickers in our pockets to eat. Open the door, Buzzy chucks it in there, we start running. The counselor runs out, the fire alarm goes off, and the counselor goes, "Did you see which way they ran?" And I said, "No, we thought we saw them, but we couldn't quite catch them." In the morning, they found out that it was us, and they brought us into the camp manager's office, the general manager's office, and he said, "What is wrong with you guys? It is the summer. You could have burned down the whole camp. Why did you do this?" And I was like, "I do not know why we did that, but we will definitely pray about it."